This is episode 103, airing at 5 minutes past 7 o'clock. Welcome along to you on this 12th day of November, and Barry and Adam here with you. And it's good to be back in the studio again, bringing you another edition of the Daily Wraps as we've been calling it since June. And tonight we're going to be talking about the roast lamb and being there for one another during the difficult times. And here's my offside. Here's my offside. And now, good evening to you, Adam. Welcome back to the studio.
Thanks, Beth. No, good to be back. G'day, everyone. Pleasure to be back, and looking forward to getting into some good topics tonight with guys here in the studio.
Well, now to open the show, who loves a roast lamb dinner here?
Big time. Chicken is my favourite, I must say personally, but tonight lamb was on the menu, and boy, oh boy, did it smell good.
Now, the importance of lamb, guys, you must cook it well. There is nothing worse than having raw meat. Here's my offsider for his opening sequence on this.
Yeah, guys. As opposed to like a beef roast, where you can still have a little bit of pink in there, even a little bit of blood, depending on your preference. It can be quite raw steaks and beef and things like that in general. But with lamb and chicken, especially, you want to make sure that it's cooked right through, and you don't want to leave any room for bacteria or germs, because that is how you get food poisoning. So,
and you don't want the paramedics wheeling you out on their stretcher. I have said this a number of times on the Daily Wraps.
yes.
And while we're here in the studio,
Before and after meals, and in general, any activity, just keep it up, guys.
So there are many different ways you can cook roast lamb in a slow cooker for 8 hours all day.
Wow.
Here's my offside.
Yeah, look, I'm sure a lot of people at home probably do the traditional method, which would be in an oven, or even maybe pan searing it first and then putting it into your oven in an oven bag. There's a variety of different methods. Some people use a barbecue even with the lid closed, again creating an oven type effect. Tonight's meal was lovingly prepared earlier in the day by Julie using a slow cooker, and like Barry said, that's gone on for 8 hours. It's cooked all day in a nice broth that she made. It's been sitting in that. No loss of moisture whatsoever. It looked incredibly tender, perfectly cooked right through. And guys, it's relatively easy, really. I mean, most people can operate a slow cooker. It's not as overwhelming as people think. They see this machine and think, "How am I going to use that?" But with a bit of practice, like anything, guys, slow cooking is probably the best way to go when it comes to tender meat. That's what we're after.
And you can also cook on a Weber barbecue too.
Definitely.
Here's my offside.
Yeah, so Weber have the coals. They've also got gas barbecues now that moved into the gas market. I mean, personally, I prefer coals. If you whack the roast on there, you do have to be careful though. You don't want to burn it, because controlling the temperature of the coals can be difficult for people that haven't done it before. So if you're gonna give that a go, maybe read up on it first, maybe watch a couple of YouTube videos on how to use the Weber properly, and you can whack your roast in there and get it done as well. But I have to say, I'd say the slow cook is probably the most tender type of roast that I've.
So, so on the subject of barbecues, guys, always read the manufacturer's instructions before you use it or put it together. And if you're gonna cook a roast on the barbecue, okay, look at what is suitable for the barbecue and what is not. Okay, a lamb roast might be good on the barbecue, but our preference would be the slow cooker or the oven. And before you even cook your meat, guys, make sure that there are no germs in there, like my offsider mentioned to you a couple of minutes ago, because hey, there's nothing worse than germs in the meat, and we could get sick. And also, like I've said earlier, okay, we don't want the paramedics in blue wheeling us out on their stretcher up to the Northern Beaches Hospital. Here's my offside.
Yeah, guys, the last thing you want to do is, make yourself sick when it is 100% preventable. So food poisoning, it's a nasty thing. It's something that I've experienced, luckily, only a few times in my life. And that's exactly where it came from. It was undercooked meat. And one of the quickest ways to get food poisoning is through eating undercooked meat. And whilst the Northern Beaches Hospital is a fantastic place, they will look after you. It's not where you want to end up.
And I have been up there many times this year. You may recall on one of the episodes that Adam and I brought you just hours after I finished the Daily Raps, episode 20, I think it was, just before lunch. That's when I went up, and I was not well on the Saturday either, and had to go back there 48 hours later. But moving on from that, okay, roast lamb and veggies, okay, you just can't go wrong with it. The lamb falls off the bone, and oh, my mouth was salivating when I looked at it. And here's my offsider.
It did look good. Look, I didn't get to try any, but just the smell of it, as soon as you open the lid on that slow cooker, it wafted through the house. And I'll tell you what, it was MasterChef type quality, fantastic. Barry was wrapped as soon as he heard that there was going to be a roast. He was excited, and all reports suggested it was absolutely delicious. With a side of fresh beans, which was steamed, arguably the healthiest way to have your beans and veggies in general. And then there was some roast potatoes, sweet and normal. A tremendous healthy meal, I'd say.
And it's better than having fried stuff all the time, guys, because roast lamb, you can't go wrong with it. You can't beat it. Have some for lunch tomorrow, the next day in a sandwich or a wrap with some melted cheese.
Lamb wrap, my goodness.
And here's my offside.
Yeah, that's the other thing, guys. It is a big piece of meat. You depending on how many people are going to be eating it, you will probably end up with some leftovers, which is a good thing. Lamb the next day, even if it's cold, delicious on a wrap, delicious on a sandwich, like Barry said, a little bit of cheese, salt and pepper. you can't beat it. Fantastic. Bit of tomato sauce or barbecue if you fancy
Or
that.
even some herbs from your garden, guys.
Fresh herbs, even better. You're getting those vitamins and minerals and boosting the immune system, which is very important in these times and all the time.
And don't waste food, guys. You turn the leftovers into something delicious like a lamb casserole, a lamb curry,
Mm.
lamb fritters,
Oh,
a lamb and vegetable pie.
oh my goodness.
There are so many ways you can use the leftover roast lamb
Making me hungry, man.
and use it up within a couple of days, guys. Here's my offside.
Yeah, and it will last, guys. That's the thing. If it's cooked thoroughly and let it cool, whack it in the fridge, seal. You are going to have meat there for a couple of days if you like. So don't think that just because it's cooled down that it's no good and you got to chuck it out. It will last in the fridge for a couple of days, so there's no issues there. Risk of getting sick is quite low, and of course, just do the smell test if you're feeling like it has been there for too long. If it's starting to smell funny, then chuck it out because again, you don't get sick.
And food poisoning, like we said, guys, is very important.
Not fun. You don't want to get it.
And if you are very sick, get the paramedics in to assess you, and they will decide whether they need to take you or not. Okay, because we know that calling 000 for a non-emergency, okay, it's not good, but we have to be safe then. Sorry here. That way the paramedics can make a decision. And we hope that you enjoy the roast lamb if you are having it.
Fantastic.
Well, to lead us into our closing sequence, okay, please be there for one another if they're not feeling the best, if they've had a bit of news, just like I did last week, okay? So please be there and support them. Here's my offside.
Yeah, guys. Unfortunately, we all did get some sad news last week. I'm not sure if Barry's discussed it on the here in the studio yet or not. But somebody that we knew is unfortunately no longer with us, and it was a sad, shocking news. In fact, a client in fact that I'd worked with, and quite enjoyed working with. Lovely man, friend of Barry's, friend of everyone's. Unfortunately passed. It's important to be there for your mates and your colleagues and friends and family and things like this. If someone's having a rough time, it's good to have a chat with them, make sure they're all right. Make sure everything's okay. Ask them if they're okay. And people take this sort of news differently. There's been a variety of responses, but Barry's I think slowly working through it, and it's been a tough time. It's been a tough time. So, like Barry says, at the end of each episode, if you do need someone to talk to, and if you're not comfortable doing that with people around you, you've always got Lifeline. You can give them a call and have a chat and just let them know how you're feeling. It's good to get it off your chest.
And on the subject of Lifeline, guys, do give them a call and let them know how you are feeling. And the number 131114. I mentioned this on the last episode. And remember, don't be abusive to the person on the phone. They may be able to help you through the tough times, and don't just sit around your house thinking that there's no one that you can talk to, because my outsider and I don't believe in that. Please don't hide in your shell. Please be open, come out of your shell, talk to someone, don't bottle it up. And this is leading into our closing message as well. Don't bottle anything up, because you will make yourself quite sick and not enjoy what you have around you. So write down in the diary how you are feeling, or even email your site managers, your friends, whoever you feel comfortable with. Here's my outsider for his closing message.
Yeah, look, like Barry said, it's healthy to talk about things. I know it can be very difficult, particularly for men in general, more than women. We do tend to bottle things up, and look, it never works out well. You know, it's good just to get things out there, because you will feel better. You'll feel $1,000,000. You know, just having a simple chat with someone, it can change your life. You know, it can change someone else's life if you're the person listening as well. So good to listen, and it's good to talk. So just don't bottle things up. I think is the
and remember, guys, have a diary and a pen. Write things down, please. We urge you to tonight on this show, as we close the show at nearly 7:30. Okay, because guys, talking about it, even having a good cry helps, but don't cry too much. Because I was told by one of my other superiors at work not to cry too much. Just think happy times about the person and the memories that you share with them. Here's my outsider for his message on that before we go into our farewell message.
Yeah, look, like I think Barry summed it up perfectly there, guys. It's it can be rough, and having a cry, you know generally feel better. Uh, but yeah, just you don't want to be hysterical, and out of control. You can't let it send you off on a negative path. It's important to stay positive, and don't forget lifeline.
Now here's our farewell and good night. Well, we hope that you enjoy cooking the roast lamb, guys, and things like that. So, as we said at the beginning of the show, be careful when cooking, and remember, wear gloves. Make sure that there are no germs in the meat, and especially with raw meat. Okay, so be careful, guys, how you handle the meat, and if it's soft, guys, please bin it, because food poisoning is not very nice. Okay, so really enjoy your roast lamb, and here's my outsider for his closing message. But before we say goodnight to you, the number that we rely on 24 hours a day, that is 000. Please do not ring that. number unless you have an emergency. We say this to you at the end of each episode because somebody is bound to do something stupid, like tell the ambulance that they need a pizza delivered or Uber Eats or McDonald's or whatever. So here's why I'm excited to remind you of that before we say goodnight.
Yeah, don't muck around, guys. If you are crook, don't hesitate to call. But don't be an absolute fool and ring up and you could be costing someone's life at the sake of a cheap laugh, and it's not worth it, guys. So don't muck around. As we always say, it's there to help you if you really need it, but don't waste their time because one day somebody might be doing that when you need help, and it could affect you and come back to bite you.
So it won't be the ambulance knocking on the door. It will be New South Wales Police. And don't go, oh,
Exactly right.
oh. It's like the boy who cried wolf, isn't it? And like, don't go, oh, I've, I've lost some money. Can you help me? All my medications run out.
Yes,
See,
yes.
this is an example of nuisance 111 calls. So, on that note, guys, time for Adam and I to say goodnight to you now. And here he is to say goodnight now.
And just a quick note, it was Remembrance Day yesterday, and just a big thank you to all the servicemen and women from ambulance, police, all the way up to the military, and just thinking back on World War One and Two, the veterans and the people that helped build the country that we so easily can take for granted, the freedoms and the tremendous life that we live here in Australia. So a big thanks to all of those people out there working hard, keeping us.
And,
Thank you.
and Adam, thanks for coming on the show again, mate. It's been wonderful. We hope to see you on the next show, and that's the end of episode 103. Thanks for your company this evening, guys, on the show. Hope you have a good night's sleep, and remember, don't bottle anything up. Tell someone how you feel. Okay, write things down because you will feel better in the long run. And here's my outsider to take us out with that message, and it's good night. Good night from me. Here's Adam with that message, and here's good night now.
Good night, everyone. It's been a pleasure, being back here at this house. I love it here. Love coming into the studio. Love hanging out with Barry. It's always a great experience, and I think we cover some important issues. So thanks once again, and I hope everyone found this as enjoying as I did. Thank you.
And we look forward to your company on the next show. I don't know when that will be, but Friday is episode 104. Please stay around for that. Stay tuned for that. Then on Saturday it's episode 105. So still plenty more videos coming your way to see November and the spring series out.
Nearly summer, everyone. It's nearly summer.
And it's nearly summer, so on that note, guys, time for us at 24 to wait to say goodnight to you. Here's Adam to say goodnight.
Good night, everyone. And like I said, pleasure being here. And Barry's well on his way to episode 200 at this point. So looking forward to another milestone.
So,
Fantastic. Great content.
so if there's anything you'd like me to cover on the show for the summer series, I'd like to hear from you. Please jot me down some ideas and some lunchbox ideas for the 2021 school year as well. So that's all coming up on the next couple of episodes. It's 25 to 8 now. Good night, Adam. Thanks for being on the show, mate, and good night from us now here at Oceania. From all the team here, good night. The number 131114 for Lifeline and 000 only for emergencies. And it's good night and God bless you.
God bless.
God bless. And this is Barry Fair from all the team here at Oceania. It's good night and sleep tight.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Bye.
night, everybody. Thanks for watching. Here he is to say good night.
As they say in France, au revoir. Good night.
Au revoir. Good night. See you tomorrow for episode 104.